Coming up next, the War's Envoy helping the flood victims up in the northern rivers growing herbs. Plus, millions missed after the ex-wife of a serial building industry shonk saying that she had no idea that about more than $3 million flowed for the bank account of a company. And the Knights, Anthony Milford off to the Dolphins next season. That's up next on NBN News. Good afternoon, my name's Conklin McLeod of NBN News. This afternoon, from little things, big things grow. A War's Envoy helps growing herbs for Lismore's flood victims. The ex-wife of Daniel Roberts saying that she had no idea about more than $3 million flowing. And a lot of dilemma about the Knights' Anthony Milford as he's now agreed to move to the new franchise, the Dolphins. But first, from little things, big things grow. Tobias Thornton turned 6 last week, but his first business, the little entrepreneur, is growing by the day. The War's Envoy started growing herbs to sell to help Lismore's flood victims, and now stocks his products closer to home. Tobias Thornton may be small, but his big desire to have a disposable income has spawned a neat side hustle. In January, the 6-year-old War's Envoy began selling herbs from his family's garden, used by his early childhood educator mum Michelle in a family daycare centre before she closed it amid COVID-19. Meanwhile, when New South Wales was ravaged by the floods, Tobias's school was set up as a drop-off point for the backpack adventure, which sends school supplies to children affected by the floods in Lismore in the Northern Rivers. Inspired to help, Tobias sold $150 worth of herbs and bought supplies to support the backpack venture. The residents saw what he had done and gifted him some chili trees, and the little entrepreneur was born. With an oversupply of chilies, Tobias researched ideas with his parents and decided to make his own gourmet chili jams and sauces, mild and hot, so as not to waste them. And of course, he revealed that his palate is developing, but he already has a taste for spice. What a incredible young boy he is. Yeah. Oh, and of course now the ex-wife of serial building industry shonk Daniel Roberts says she had no idea that more than $3 million flowed through the bank account of a company she was meant to be running. Angela Roberts was the sole director of the DSD builders for more than 3 years until February last year, when a liquidator was appointed by courts after the business collapsed under debts of more than $5 million. Shumat Banerjee of Western Advisory, who was appointed by courts to liquidate the business, which collapsed under debts of more than $5 million. Meanwhile, Miss Roberts, who divorced in October last year, told the Sydney Supreme Court on Monday that she was instructed to do things by Roberts and her business partner. Meanwhile, Miss Roberts of Charlestown was giving evidence at a public examination into the collapse of Hunter-based DSD builders, trying to piece together a picture of where the millions went into how much, if any, is left for creditors. The court heard she signed documents, opened bank accounts, and moved money at the request of either Roberts of Shankar. Miss Roberts said that outside of what she was instructed to do or what she overheard, she had no knowledge of the pair's business dealings. Oh, and of course don't forget the now of course let's have a quick listen to the local traffic. Now Sarah, there's a lot of traffic going on right up near Hexham, as well as
we're likely to have delays.
Yep.
Expect delays. I don't know.
Yeah, expect a lot of delays over there.
Yes, yep. Is there any alternative route that we could take, perhaps?
Could be.
Right, great.
As well as in Warners Bay.
Yes. I believe there was an accident, maybe at Warners Bay.
Yep.
Or a breakdown. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that could be as well.
Right. And then look here, Tono. It's a very busy intersection here.
Yep.
Yeah. Street.
Yeah, it's a massive section.
It is.
Yeah, it's a.
You can expect delays heading up Crowders. Actually, you know what? We're a little bit lucky. We're just before the school time, so that could be on our side.
Yeah, it is a amazing section here.
Yes.
Anyway, that's the latest in traffic. Anyway, back to the music. And a warning, this story is extremely confronting and disturbing. Desperate for opiates, suffering a broken leg and unable to sleep, Michael Black wrote in a medical request form from inside a Sydney jail that he was going to end up killing someone if he was not prescribed buprenorphine. Less than 2 weeks later, as those requests went unanswered, Mr. Black was later stabbed to death by another inmate, Newcastle man Emmett Shared, after a fight that started over the opiate replacement drug. And the crucial evidence in the murder trial against Mr. Shared boils down to 3 seconds in a packed holding cell at Parkleigh Correctional Centre, a jury has been told. Those 3 seconds, as Public Defender Tony Evers told the jury during his closing address on Monday, came after Mr. Shared was bashed by Mr. Black, who demanded Mr. Shared hand over his boob, and before Mr. Shared struck out with a shiv and stabbed him 8 times. Mr. Shared has pleaded not guilty to murdering the 33-year-old and claims he was acting in self-defense after twice being attacked and stabbed in the chin. The prosecution case is that after being beaten during the fist fight over the buprenorphine, Mr. Shared was angry and humiliated and out for revenge. They say Mr. Shared was the aggressor in the second fight and intended to kill Mr. Black when he stabbed him. Meanwhile, heavy rain that put pressure on the wastewater system at Toowoomba has left local homeowner Mary Brown in a stinky situation. As sewage from neighbouring houses flooded her downstairs unit and backyard. Hunter Water won't take responsibility for the clean up, and it's not the first time Miss Brown has had to go through her own insurance to deal with the mess. She said to think that the tenant who lives there is in hospital, and I had to tell him he had nowhere to live because there is literally sewage drying all on his items. I'll have no income at all now. He's been there 14 years as a tenant and he has to go. It's not fair. Meanwhile, new developments around Miss Brown's home have been put extra pressure on the sewer main, which overflows 2 doors up and runs through her and her neighbour's yard in extreme weather events. Meanwhile, Hunter Water has previously tried to fix the problem with a 300-kilogram cement lid, but it bubbled over in the latest floods. Coal supplies are back on track after serious floods at Maitland shut down the Hunter Valley rail network. Floodwater at Maitland Station damaged tracks and signalling equipment, interrupting at least 220 passenger and supply trips every day for more than 9 days. Meanwhile, Hunter power stations were given priority as the Australian Rail Track Corporation reinstated limited services to generators like erroring late last week. Thermal coal, the bedrock of Newcastle's coal exports, is still selling at near record levels of $587 a tonne or more, while prices of virtually every other metal or mineral commodity have fallen dramatically in recent months. The only other exception is lithium, needed for batteries, which is trading at near record prices. The coal boom was reflected at a quarterly production report by the Whitehaven Coal, which told the stock market yesterday it expects financial year 2022 earnings of $3 billion before income tax and depreciation, up from $200 million a year ago. Watching the State of Origin, and of course Callum Ponga, of course, who was the Knights fullback, played like his coach Billy Slater and got the rewards and praise for the Queensland Maroons. But on the weekend, he played for the Knights, but not like he played on Wednesday. Maybe his job as captain makes him feel he has to be in everything and everywhere. But he is much more effective if he played like Billy Slater as he did in Queensland. Well, if you thought it was cold yesterday, spare thought for Hunter residents who awoke 57 years earlier to snow. On July 18, 1965, some 16 centimetres of snow fell on hills around the Cessnock area, including Cooraballong, Mountville and Millfield. About 10 centimetres of snow fell on Mount Sugarloaf that day, exactly 57 years ago on Monday. The following article appeared on the front page of the Cessnock Advertiser on July 22nd, 1965, which of course said this: snow-covered mountains and fields in the Millfield, Wollombi, Cooraballong areas during the weekend attract thousands of people from Hunter Valley and Newcastle areas. Sports up next, as Anthony Milford agrees to leave the Knights to join the new franchise, the Dolphins.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get my paper, 'cause the Herald is the best way to start your day.
I'm going to buy that.
Into big business now, are we?
Nope, I'm quite happy with the small business I own, Louise.
Who are you banking with now, Bob?
Newcastle Permanent.
No, I mean your company banking.
Yeah, we're with the firm.
Didn't know they did business banking.
Well, I have done for quite some time now, Dad.
Oh, good move.
That's mine. Thank you.
Your business is in good hands with Newcastle Permanent.
They're our building society.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get my paper, 'cause the Herald is the best way to start your day.
To rugby league, and Knights coach Adam O'Brien faces a selection conundrum after receiving confirmation that 5'8" Anthony Milford has agreed to join the new NRL franchise, the Dolphins. Milford, who joined the Knights in April on a deal until at least the end of this season, informed his teammates on Monday that he has accepted a 2-year deal with the new club. Preparing to enter the NRL's competition in 2023, the Dolphins will be coached by Wayne Bennett, who has a close relationship with Milford dating back to their days together at the Brisbane Broncos. It is understood that Milford and his young family were keen to return to their hometown. O'Brien said on Friday he was hopeful of retaining Milford beyond the end of this campaign. O'Brien said that he's expressed a desire to Anthony himself, that he has classified him as a real valuable part of his team, and he'd love for him to stay. But after Milford's confirmation, O'Brien will have to consider the short-term value of continuing to pick him for Newcastle's remaining 7 games of the season and weigh that against the potential benefits of reinstating Jake Clifford. Clifford is under contract to the Knights next season, but since Milford's arrival, he has played in only 2 of Newcastle's past 9 NRL matches. Clifford has been a regular in the New South Wales Cup, but was a late scratching from last week's clash with the Blacktown Sea Eagles after contracting COVID. It is expected he will be available for Friday night's clash with the Sydney Roosters at McDonald Jones Stadium. The Knights have won only 2 of the 7 games in which Milford has played. Clifford and Adam Clune, who started the season as Newcastle's first-choice halves, are both contracted for next year and might again have to handle the playmaking responsibilities in 2023, depending on whether the Knights are successful in their quest to sign an experienced halfback. Still in the NRL, and the Canberra Raiders are in a lot of drama as their winger Jordan Rapana is set to miss their next 2 games as they gear up for a late push for the NRL finals. Rapana was hit with 2 charges on Monday, stemming from the 20-16 win over the Melbourne Storm on Sunday. The 32-year-old can escape with a $3,000 fine for a Grade 1 shoulder charge on Storm centre Marion Sieve. The careless high tackle on Sieve in the second half will result in Rapana missing the Raiders' next 2 fixtures. Rapana, who was sin-binned in the 58th minute for the offence, was handed a Grade 2 charge. To the NRLW, Knights coach Ron Griffiths describes a unique scenario with Newcastle's new-look squad now beginning preparations for this year's second season. Players, featuring at least half a dozen from other clubs, gathered at the Knights Centre of Excellence on Monday before they officially hit the training track today. It comes at about 5 weeks out from the opening round, with Newcastle drawn to host 3-time NRLW premiers the Brisbane Broncos at McDonald Jones Stadium on Sunday, August the 21st. The Knights played their inaugural NRLW campaign earlier this year after COVID saw the original competition postponed. Local bred trio Hannah Southwell, Yasmin Clydesdale and Olivia Higgins are among the new recruits to join the Knights after claiming an NRLW title with the Sydney Roosters in April. Millie Boyle and Tamika Upton have arrived from the Broncos, while the likes of Caelan Johnston, Romy Tidestell and Kira Dibb opted to re-sign at Newcastle. Having finished without a win and collecting the wooden spoon in their debut NRLW season, the Knights are hoping to improve on those results this time around. Griffiths, who was announced as the club's new NRLW coach in April, says the playing group will be keen to taste finals footy. And of course, Griffiths says you couldn't ask much more as a Newcastle player in terms of having round 1 at home after the men's NRL game. He was recently impressed by the recent performance of Johnston in her maiden State of Origin run for New South Wales. Still on the Knights, and their hooker Jaden Bailey isn't satisfied to simply be back on the field. Bailey returned to action 2 weeks ago after rupturing his tendon in the preseason, but his joy has been tempered by Newcastle's past 2 results. A hammering for Manly on Saturday, which followed by a loss to South Sydney 8 days earlier. After the loss, Newcastle are in 13th position with 4 wins adrift of the top 8 teams with only 7 games remaining. And of course, but Bailey said the Knights won't concede their finals hopes are done and doused until a top 8 spot is officially out of reach. Meanwhile, the Knights could be facing an outside back crisis against the Roosters after wingers Edric Lee and Dominic Young joined Bradman Best on the injured list. Meanwhile, Hymel Hunt, who is yet to play in the NRL this season because of injury, is likely to win a recall. Meanwhile, back rower Tyson Frizzell also aggravated a rib problem during the loss, but was back at training on Monday. Still in the NRL and in the Newcastle competition, and additional injuries to an already crowded casualty ward mean Curry coach Aaron Watts is somewhat scraping together a team for tonight's catch-up fixture. But he says the Bulldogs remain determined to finish this year on a good note. Curry prop Michael Steele and hooker Tom McKenzie won't back up against third place Central at St John's Oval following Saturday's away loss to Maitland. Meanwhile, Bulldogs junior Charlie Howden, who made his Newcastle Rugby League debut on the weekend, is also missing because of work commitments. Curry, sharing at the bottom of the competition ladder with 5 matches left, have lost 6 straight and last tasted victory on May 28. To hockey, and South striker Maria Williams has collected her first World Cup medal after the Hockey Roos defeated Germany in the playoff for bronze in Spain on Monday. Williams, a Hunter Sports High School graduate, helped Australia secure a 2-1 victory and third place in the International Women's Tournament. The BMX racing, and Gavin Joyce watched his son Noah race a BMX bike for the first time and thought it like fun. Luke Patrini, the son of a rally driver, needed to race something. The Hunter trio will this week leave for Nantes, France, where they'll represent Australia at the UCI BMX Racing World Championships starting on July 26. Today League and seasoned defender Jordan Elsey has sensed a different edge to the Newcastle Jets at pre-season training and is confident the rejigged outfit will make a statement in the Australia Cup battle with Adelaide at McDonald Jones Stadium on July 30. This time, 12 months ago, the Jets had players on trial. Those contracted had just been introduced to the aggressive, up-tempo game plan Arthur Pappas planned to deploy, and the fitness levels required to execute it. The weather's up next for Newcastle and the Hunter.
I'm going to buy that.
Into big business now, are we?
Nope. I'm quite happy with the small business I own, Louise.
Who are you banking with now, Bob?
Newcastle Permanent.
No, I mean your company banking.
Yeah, we're with the firm.
Didn't know they did business banking?
Well, I have done for quite some time now, Dad.
Oh, good move.
That's mine. Thank you.
Your business is in good hands with Newcastle Permanent.
They're our building society.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get because the Herald is the best way to start your day. wake up in the morning, gotta get because the Herald is the best way to start your day.
To the weather now, and it was really wet across Newcastle and the Hunter, and it was also really wet for Lake Macquarie. Onto the satellite, and it's really wet right up in Newcastle, as well as Cessnock, Maitland, and also it's really wet up in Lake Macquarie as well. For Valentine, Toowoomba, Cardiff, Charlestown, as well as for Wallsend, and also for Cameron Park, as well as for Toronto, Fassifern, and Awaba and Belmont, as well as for Rathmines. And also, it's also wet for Newlampton, Adamstown, Mayweather, and Bar Beach, and Cooks Hill. And plus it's really wet for the Upper Hunter. It's really wet right up in Glambourne. It's really wet for Aberdeen, and it's really wet up in Scone. Meanwhile, it's really wet across the Central Coast, and it's really wet for Tuggerah, the entrance north, as well as Berkeley Vale, and also Gosford is wet as well. So too is Erina, and also Kincumber's wet. So too is Summersby, and Batteau Bay is wet as well. And also Avoca Beach and Terrigal are all wet, and so too is Erina Heights. Onto the waters, and there'll be southeasterly up to 15 to 20 knots for the winds. The seas are around 1 metre, swell the southerly 2 metres. It'll be partly cloudy tomorrow. There'll be a 60% chance of showers. There are 2 high tides, and of course the first one is at around about midnight, and of course there's another one at 1:54 p.m, which is the afternoon, while there's a low tide at 7:28 tomorrow morning, while there's another one at 7:59 tomorrow. The sun's getting up at 6:51, setting at 5:07. And don't forget, for Newcastle tomorrow, there's a minimum of 10 metres, while the maximum is 17 metres, and it's partly cloudy, and it's very high, with 90% chance of showers tomorrow. And of course, Newcastle is 15 degrees, so too does Wallsend, while Toronto has 14. And the outlook for Newcastle, it was alright today, but it'll be sunny tomorrow with showers increasing. It'll be 10 to 17 for tomorrow, and the rest of it will be wet. It was a okay one for Scone in the Hunter, and of course it'll be alright for the rest of the week with the sun. But it's a lot of struggles for the Central Coast, and of course, and it's up in Gosford. there's gonna be a lot of rain until at least next Monday. Anyway, that's it for now from all the latest news from NBN, and also from all of us here. Good night.